My name's Sarah and I'm mother to Ben, who is now 16 years old, and we've been attending Birmingham Children's Hospital for the past 8 years, so half his life. And this is our journey of how a rare kidney disease, undiagnosed, has impacted on our family. So Ben is the youngest of my 3 sons, and he was a normal, healthy 8-year-old boy when he became ill in January 2008. Completely out of the blue, and as far as we're aware, he wasn't born with anything, but today we still don't know. So after 2 visits to the GP with swollen eyelids and tiredness, he was sent to Birmingham's A&E after a urine dip sample revealed very high levels of protein and blood. He was soon admitted and initially treated for a nephrotic syndrome, which we had never heard of. After being discharged, he was prescribed high dosages of steroids, but over 8 weeks there was no improvement, and we were none the wiser as to what was going on. So he was referred to the nephrology ward, and back then, 8 years ago, little did we know that this would become our second home. So we was introduced to the fantastic Dr. Mark Taylor, which a lot of you have heard about throughout the day. And someone once said to us back in the day, if Dr. Taylor doesn't know, then no one does. So we was reassured, but a kidney biopsy was soon performed, and the results were not promising for us. All we knew that Ben's own body was attacking his kidneys, and the doctors did not know why or what his diagnosis was. We was told that the biopsy had similarities to an MPGN/DDD rare kidney disease, which is what we've classed him as to date, but we've never had a firm diagnosis. So this was frustrating and very hard to accept as a parent, and we watched Ben deteriorate before our eyes. He changed physically and mentally, and having to consent as a parent to different tests, plasma infusions and cocktail of drugs, and at one point he was on 26 medications a day. So after spending weeks and months at clinics, all I literally wanted to do was have somebody really to talk to, or somebody out there that must have known what was going on. But in our case, this was not to be. Ben would ask me questions and I could not answer them. And we was told that Ben was never a textbook case, and we were soon to discover this over the years. So the hardest part for us was not being in control of our son's life. There was many outsiders telling us what we could do with him and how to manage him. He was on a strict diet of food and fluid. Things that he was used to eating, he could no longer have. But I can also remember one clinician at the time who actually said to us, but don't worry, this won't happen overnight. Ben will probably get into his teenage years before anything happens. But this was not to be again, as like most rare diseases, there is no pattern. So Ben went into kidney failure some 8 months after being first presented in that January 2008. So by September, he was in kidney failure. Ben was operated on and went straight onto PD dialysis, but again there were barriers, sending him back to school. He was still only young. Teachers did not have no knowledge or experience, and they were constantly calling me out. This had a massive impact on family life. So after 6 months on PD dialysis, Ben was put onto the national donor list, and as parents we both participated for live donor workup sessions. And in December of 2009, Ben received a live kidney donation by his dad, and both were reunited some 4 days later after a very successful kidney donation. So months after the transplant, Ben remained well. He represented Birmingham Children's Hospital for the British Transplant Games, winning many gold medals, and his confidence was slowly coming back, and he was the Ben that we knew pre-illness. But we was always aware that the disease may return at any point. He started his secondary school and things started to move up. But at that time we also sadly had to say goodbye to Dr. Mark Taylor. He had to retire. But we also said a very warm welcome to Dr. Larissa Kerrychuk, who has looked after Ben very well, and we cannot thank her enough. Ben also decided, and he signed up to Radar and Rare Renal, and as a family we attended the kidney conference in Newcastle that was arranged by Dr. Sally Johnson, and it was at this time that a handful of families soon got together to create the MPGN DDD support group, and we've since had to add on C3G, which clinically, if you know rare kidney disease, that's happened in the last couple of years. We have a Facebook page, and we also have our own website page now. We try and meet every 3 months, and we offer support to others, and this has been a big breakthrough to finally be able to share and talk to other families affected. And our members continue to grow both UK and worldwide. But it was soon apparent that most of the patients affected by these rare kidney diseases presented uniquely and differently, reacting differently to medications. So like many rare diseases, there are other underlying problems, and Ben's was high blood pressure. So again, after many clinical investigations by Dr. Kerrychuk, he was admitted for 2 nephrectomy operations. After minor hiccups and false alarms, Ben has amazed us all by reducing all his medication and now only takes anti-rejection drugs. So summary, to present date, Ben has had to deal with, over the last 8 years, many hospital admissions, and he was adamant to continue as normal throughout school, pushing himself to the limit and never letting his illness hold him back. And he finished school in June this year with 10 GCSEs, 6 of which were A's and above, 3 of all in all 3 sciences, which I thank Dr. Kerrychuk. He's an athletic and intelligent 16-year-old young man, and he was accepted into his first choice of college, where he continues his study programme. And 2 days before college in September, Ben participated in the 100,000 Genome Project, to hopefully, with our fingers crossed, we try and get a possible diagnosis. So finally, as a family, we would like to thank all those that have come into our lives and helped Ben along his way, to Larissa and the nephrology team, to the surgeons and the transplant team, to Birmingham Children's Hospital, physiotherapists, dietitians, the urology, the nurses, the cardiologists, the transition scientists and everybody, and the list is endless. Thank you again for your support.